Welcome back to another edition of the Bloomfield Pride Points. Today we're going to talk about FFA, and we have Miss Juli Huffman. We have our president of the FFA, Calvin Myers, and our vice president, Tucker Lent. So just a question to kick it off, how many students are in our FFA program?
I can answer that question. We have a real strong showing in both the high school and the middle school. We have upwards of 50 students in high school and over 80 in our middle school FFA programs. So combined, we're talking about 130 students, and they're very active. There's a lot going on. It's a lot of fun.
And that's why it's a big pride point for us, because we have so many students involved, and appreciate all that you do to get 130 students interested. That's quite impressive. But one thing that I always like talking about is competitions. And so, Calvin, why don't you tell us about some of the competitions that the FFA is in?
So there's primarily two types of competitions, LDEs and CDEs. LDEs is the leadership development events, and CDEs are career development events. Leadership development events are more focused on developing characteristics of leadership within the members, and that's normally like district contests, which includes like demonstrations, scrapbooking, persuasive essay, prepared public speaking, extend public speaking, and just a wide variety of just trying to get members to interact with adults to see where they stand amongst other chapters and just compete. And then CDs, which I compete in almost all the CDs that we do, and that includes like welding, livestock judging, and forestry are our three main ones. We've been to state for welding the last 2 years now. Jared Small and myself have been able to make it to state the last 2 years, and we had a good beginner team this year that was just out of the top 4 to qualify for state this year. But CDs are really important because it shows members like what's out there and what's available in the real world, and it just gives them the opportunity to see what they want to do in the future and see what they like in agriculture, or if they don't like it, it shows them that they have other options too.
Absolutely awesome. I do love competitions, and I love it when we're successful. So keep up the good work. Let's go back to Ms. Huffman. Can you just talk to us about the overarching goals of FFA?
Sure. Certainly FFA is something that has a long time tradition here at Bloomfield, and it's very important to me both professionally and personally. And of course we have a lot of goals that are mandated to us by the state. We have certain requirements that we have to make, but above and beyond those, a goal of our program is to educate and encourage our agriculture young people. We've got to get them exposed to the different facets of agriculture. I always tell the kids, if you ate today, you have clothes on, and you have a place to live, then agriculture has touched you in some way. And it doesn't matter if you live on a farm or you live in the city, there are so many jobs and opportunities in agriculture. And I like to think that the big goal of this program is to make sure that everybody knows that, and that everybody understands that, and everybody can find a place if they want to be involved. And for me personally, it's really nice because I would be doing a lot of these ag activities anyway, because that's what I do outside of school. So my professional life and my personal life kind of have a nice little weave there. And a lot of the things that we do are things that affect me outside of school. And I like to think of it as my job is to get all of these students prepared, because these are the kids that are going to be doing business with my daughter and my grandchildren and my neighbors and whomever. And we are a pretty tight-knit community here in Bloomfield, and we want to proliferate that. We want to keep that moving forward.
Awesome. So Tucker, how about a question for you? Can you talk about our local farm and how we use it to educate our students, and then also talk about how that provides funding for all the FFA activities that happen?
Sure. About 2 or 3 years ago, my father and I, we saw that our local field plot was not producing what we thought it should be, so we took a little bit of initiative and used our own equipment that we have to provide for our own farm and for what would be my grandparents' income. So and I think that's one of the more teachers that surrounds that can be provided to students here is just with a little bit of initiative, we can bring so much, because with the many years that the farm plot was not done by students, it was not very productive. But with only 2 years of doing the farm plot, we've made a little under $250,000. So we're on the right track to produce a lot of funding for the FFA, And I think that's really taught me with owning my own business, and is to see with the farm how many different pieces come into the pie. I'm having to communicate with the people who test the soil, Helena, who does the fungicide, and Co-op or Premier down in Worthington, who does all the herbicides and fertilizer, and Stewart, who donates all the seeds. So it's a lot of different communications, and it's really taught me how to operate a farm and operate a business.
Awesome. You want to bring in the South Complex?
Sure. And to tag on to what Tucker said, you know, we talked about the numbers. It's a lot of kids, and it's expensive when we go places. It's expensive to take a bus, blah, blah, blah. And that allows us the opportunity to still make those opportunities available to all of our FFA members. And our farm plot over here by the woolen mill has gotten a little smaller in the last few years, but we have some new ideas down at the South Complex to expand some of our acreage to kind of make up for that, and even hopefully make up some more, because as our numbers grow and the interest grows, so do our bills. So we're really looking forward to developing some new things down there, and maybe even some different unique things. It may not be just traditional crops either. We've got some plans for some of the nooks and crannies that other folks aren't using, and we're going to see what we can do.
Awesome. Well, thank you each for joining me for another edition of the Bloomfield Pride Points. And this is the FFA.
Thank you.